Okay, so you used universal set really well to explain Garou's knowledge. Now, for the axioms of the universe, try to specify that Garou doesn't just exist in the system but operates it, because in logic you can basically derive any possible state. If you hold the axioms, this will also enforce his copying as instantiation. For those who don't know, instantiation is a moment where abstract concepts become concrete reality. You also mentioned for D. Minkowski space, which helps your argument a lot. Also a great way of grounding timing being irrelevant in general relativity. To make this a bit more effective, you can emphasize that Garou is treating time as a spatial dimension, for any being in 4D scales past and future are just coordinates on map they can see, and also you can use block universe theory. LOL, how convenient. I was just teaching a student Heisenberg uncertainty principle, and the way you used it is really good, like you linked saitamas, stagnant particles violating Heisenberg. Also, use words like quantum zero effect or absolute zero entropy in this argument. It shifts the argument from being fast to ignoring laws of probability even more consistently.
It's time to stand up, time to take a red pill, to make this all world, gonna die on this hill. Be ready to fight, be ready to kill.
Quite a sophisticated way to explain two saitama paradox. In standard logic, if two things have all the same properties, they are the same thing by saitama. Merging them 1 equals 1. He is performing a logical transgression that goes beyond mere 3D strength. Using advanced processing as a way of treating Genos as a reliable observer is great, because that's what people try to debunk, that Genos isn't reliable. Also highlight that Genos isn't just guessing, he's performing a post-hoc data analysis on a core which literally travels through CTC closed time-like curve. CTC is a path of space-time that returns to its past, which also concludes the core physically contains data from a timeline that doesn't even exist anymore.
It's time to stand up, time to take a red pill, to make this all world, gonna die on this hill. Be ready to fight, be ready to kill.
You highlighted that vector space is an abstract concept in linear algebra used for complex problem solving. You should emphasize that because MWI is calculated within Hilbert space, which is infinite dimensional. And because Garou is manipulating such vectors, he's basically manipulating the underlying linear algebra used in reality itself. So for your premise 1 and 2, you're using the qualitative superiority argument, but you could make it more assertive by stating that Garou has reached complete independence from dimensionality, and he sees the concept of dimension as a subordinate attribute that he can relocate or delete at will. Also for premise 3 and 4, frame Garou's circumventing time as a way of him treating for D manifold not as a timeline but as a static coordinate. He's not moving in time, he's changing his address in the universal vector space. You can also use the logic from the last paragraph to shut down outlier arguments, as these are constitutive truths due to being narrative statements directly.
And I've got to say, in all honesty, it's the biggest piece of dog shit that I've ever heard.
For the total energy access part, to sound more definitive, call this energy-matter equivalence. Mastery in physics. Mass is just localized energy. E equals mc square. By understanding the flow, Garou isn't just watching energy, he is manipulating the very fabric of mass for transcending quantum probabilism. But you can frame Garou possessing hidden variable knowledge. Garou can see underlying logic variables which we can't as a primary interface. I love the focus on sensory apparatus. It highlights that we are trapped in a 3D quadro of the bubble. Garou knowing the interior of a black hole is a great specific example of information that is physically impossible for a contained being to possess. You can use a term for this called cognitive transcendence. For the first half, in which you're comparing Saitama and Garou's logic, you can phrase it as a category error like trying to measure Saitama using Garou's logic as a category error. Great job debunking the struggle argument by arguing that it's not physical fatigue, it's his universal mind hitting a total collapse of his framework, because he is trying to calculate an unmeasurable value. Also, you used the MWI to argue that Saitama wins is a mathematical certainty and a metaphysical law that takes precedence over Garou. Is a physical law. There's another superiority term you can use for this called nomological superiority. Let's say Garou's law, physical and Saitama is meta. In any type of conflict between these, meta law always overrides.